There's a reason why no one can fully figure you out. Why some love you instantly while others fear the very ground you walk on. Why they smile in your presence but secretly wish they could be more like you. You, Sagittarius. You were never meant to blend in. You were born to disturb comfort, ignite truths, and walk paths that no one else dares to touch. And that is why they envy you. They won't always say it. Most of them never will. But it shows in how they try to copy your freedom, in how they criticize your honesty, in how they come alive when you enter the room yet still call you too much when you leave. But the truth is, you were never meant to be understood by the average soul, because Sagittarius, you are not just a zodiac sign, you are a flame, a living, burning, breathing fire of divine rebellion. Welcome to the Sagittarius Flame, where we don't shrink for the world. We make the world rise to meet our light. Today, I'm going to walk you through 21 powerful truths. 21 reasons why everyone secretly envies Sagittarius, even if they'd never admit it. But here's the twist. This video isn't just about flattery. It's not a shallow praise session. This is a spiritual unraveling, a decoding of why your soul was born with fire others fear. And by the time we reach reason number 5, you won't just understand how others see you differently. You'll understand why you were chosen to carry the truth no one else can. So before we begin, drop your birth date and zodiac sign in the comments. I want to know who's here. I want to know which of you have already burned down lives that no longer served you, and which of you are just now learning to light the match. Because this is not just a video, this is a mirror, and if you dare to watch until the end, you'll see the version of yourself that the world envies most, the version that never needed permission. A message for you, Sagittarius. They don't envy your charm. They envy that you don't need validation to be charming. They don't envy your beauty. They envy that you're magnetic even in chaos. They don't envy your wisdom. They envy that you earned it the hard way, through battles no one saw, through pain no one respected, and through truths no one wanted to hear. They envy your laughter, because somehow you're still laughing even after everything. So today we begin the sacred breakdown. Each reason in this video is not a surface-level compliment. It's a spiritual insight into why your presence is disruptive and why that disruption is divine. If you're a Sagittarius, this is your awakening. If you love one, this is your warning. And if you've ever envied one, stay tuned. You're about to see why nothing and no one can ever quite match a Sagittarius soul. So take a deep breath, because what you're about to hear may trigger something in you. A memory, a flame, a truth you've hidden. Whatever it is, let it burn. Now let's begin. Reason number 1. They envy you because you crave truth like oxygen, and most people fear it. There's something terrifying about a person who doesn't flinch when the truth walks into the room. Most people run from it. Some pretend they didn't hear it. Others dress it up in lies to make it more palatable. But not you, Sagittarius. You inhale truth like it's the only air worth breathing. Your soul wasn't designed for comfort. It was built for clarity. You don't tolerate masks, half-promises, or games of silence. And when others avoid the obvious, you speak it. Clean, clear, unapologetic. And that's where the envy begins, because you see what others refuse to admit. You sense deception even in a smile. You call out betrayal that's been normalized. You expose the elephant in the room not with anger, but with radical honesty. They say you're too direct, too intense, too much. But what they really mean is, you saw something in me I wasn't ready to admit. You weren't made to lie, not to others, not to yourself, and especially not to the universe. And while they envy your ability to live in truth, They're terrified of what that truth might require them to change. Life lesson. Truth isn't just a virtue for Sagittarius, it's a sacred duty. In a world built on illusion, your voice is a sword. You were born to pierce the veil, no matter who trembles behind it. Tell me below, have you ever spoken a truth that cost you a relationship or opportunity, but saved your soul? But Sagittarius doesn't stop at truth. Once you see the lie, you don't just call it out. You walk away from it. And that brings us to reason number 2. Reason number 2. They envy your ability to walk away without guilt, without apology. Here's a truth few admit. Most people stay too long in jobs that drain them, in relationships that wound them, in environments that suffocate their fire. But you, Sagittarius, when something no longer aligns with your soul, you leave. No drama, no self-pity, no what-ifs, just truth and movement. They call you cold, they call you reckless, they say you don't care. But what they don't understand is, you do care. You just care about your peace more than you care about appearances. And that scares people, because they're still explaining why they haven't left the job they hate, why they forgive the same betrayal for the 10th time, why they betray themselves just to be accepted. But not you. You don't betray yourself. You've been through the pain of staying somewhere too long before. And once was enough. Now you protect your fire. You protect your future. And you know not everyone is meant to go with you. Life lesson. There is no growth in places that no longer water your soul. Sagittarius walks, not because they're heartless, but because they finally realized they deserve more. When was the last time you walked away from something or someone and never looked back? Drop off if it set you free. But here's the twist. Even when you leave Sagittarius, you don't slam doors, you don't burn bridges, you simply follow the truth and show up again when it matters most. And that takes us straight into reason number 3. Reason number 3, they envy your loyalty, because when you say you'll be there, you are. Now this is the paradox that breaks people's minds. Because how can someone so wild, so free, so unpredictable, also be the most loyal person you'll ever meet? But that's exactly who you are. Yes, Sagittarius will walk away from what wounds them. Yes, they'll disappear when their soul needs healing. But if they've promised you they'll be there, they will show up. Not out of guilt, not out of obligation, but because their word means something. They don't hand it out lightly. But when they do, it's sacred. You'll find them driving across states at 2 a.m. to rescue a friend, flying across oceans to be there for a funeral, a wedding, or a moment of truth. They'll hold your hand when you're falling apart, even if you haven't spoken in months. Their loyalty isn't loud. It's not for display, but it's there, deep, unwavering, and undeniable. And people envy this, because most can't even trust themselves to show up like that. They admire your consistency in a world full of flakiness and false promises. Life lesson: freedom doesn't mean disloyalty. In fact, only those who are truly free know the sacredness of choosing to stay. Has a Sagittarius ever shown up for you when no one else did? Or have you done that for someone else? Share your story below. And yet, as loyal as you are, Sagittarius, when someone crosses the line, when disrespect creeps in, you don't shout, you don't plead, you disappear. And that's a different kind of power they never see coming. Reason number 4, they envy the way you disappear without a sound, but with all your power intact. You don't need to announce your exit. You don't burn bridges. You don't curse the room you once prayed in. You just leave. And when Sagittarius leaves, they leave clean. No messy revenge, no dramatic speeches, no begging to be understood. Just distance and silence. The kind of silence that says everything without saying a word. That's what makes them envious. Because most people cling to people, to memories, to approval, even to the pain. But you let go like a master. You understand that not everything deserves closure. That sometimes the most powerful move is to remove your energy entirely and let the absence speak louder than presence ever could. They feel it. They always feel it. When your fire goes out of their world, suddenly the room goes cold. And that's when they realize you didn't need them. You chose them. And now you've chosen yourself. Life lesson. Energy is sacred. And sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is protect your peace by walking away completely without explanation. Have you ever left someone or something quietly and watched how loudly your absence spoke? Tell me how they reacted below. And while they're still wondering why you left Sagittarius, you've already arrived somewhere new, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, and even sexually. Because when it comes to intimacy, you do it differently, and that's what they can't stop obsessing over. Let's go deeper into reason number 5. Reason number 5. They envy your unapologetic sexual curiosity because you don't seek permission to explore. Let's speak the truth that others avoid. Because you, Sagittarius, were never meant to live a repressed life, and that includes your desires. For you, sex isn't just physical. It's emotional, spiritual, exploratory. It's a portal, a fire, a freedom. You don't need to be in love to be curious, and you don't need society's rules to validate your cravings. You don't see sex as taboo. You see it as truth, a language your body speaks when your soul wants to learn something new. That terrifies people. Because your sensuality is not rooted in shame, but in power. You don't chase approval. You don't perform. You experience. And that makes people envious, because they still feel guilty for wanting. They hide their desires behind closed doors. They seek permission to be who they are, but not you. You give yourself permission. And that freedom, that raw, untamed spiritual freedom, is magnetic. It's not about being promiscuous. It's about being honest. Honest with what your soul longs for. Honest with what your body knows. And honest with the people who dare to share that fire with you. Life lesson. When your intimacy is driven by curiosity, not insecurity, you become unshakable. You stop needing to prove anything. You just live. And that Sagittarius is sacred. Has your curiosity in love or sex ever made others misunderstand you or fear you share your truth safely, respectfully in the comments? But here's what they don't get. For all your exploration, you also have boundaries. Sacred fire-lit boundaries. And when they're crossed, you don't just walk away. You disappear, but you never forget. And that's what reason number 6 is all about. Reason number 6. They envy your ability to forgive publicly, but remember quietly. Sagittarius is known for having a big heart. Forgiving. Letting go. Moving forward. But what they forget is, Sagittarius never forgets. You may smile. You may offer peace. You may even hug the one who betrayed you. But deep inside, you've archived the moment. Logged it in your spiritual records, not for vengeance, but for clarity. And if needed, you will act. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow. But when the time is right, you will restore balance. With silence, with grace, or with fire if necessary. That's what makes you powerful, and what makes them envious. Because most people either explode or suppress. But you transmute. You remember who harmed you and how, and you allow the universe to use that memory to sharpen your discernment. You're not petty, you're precise. You forgive, but you don't repeat. You heal, but you don't invite the same storm twice, and you trust karma to do the rest. Life lesson. Forgiveness is not the same as forgetting. Sagittarius teaches us this. You can release someone from your heart while still remembering why they don't belong in your future. Have you ever forgiven someone but remembered so clearly that you never allowed them back in? Tell me how that shaped your strength. But here's the paradox that confuses everyone. How can someone so serious about boundaries still live with such childlike joy? You know why? And the answer is in reason number 7. Reason number 7. They envy that you never fully grow up because you refuse to kill your joy. The world expects you to mature, to settle, to tame your laughter, to trade your spark for something more respectable. But you, Sagittarius, you never agreed to that contract. You age, yes, but you don't dim. You collect wisdom, not rules. You evolve, but you never conform. And that's what drives them mad. Because while they force themselves to act their age, you still dance in the kitchen at 2 a.m. You still fall in love with sunrises. You still dream out loud like a child who believes the universe is listening. And it is. They envy your joy, your wonder, your ability to make life feel like it's still worth playing with even when it's been hard. They've surrendered to monotony. But you still believe in magic. And not only that you create it, your spirit refuses to be caged by society's idea of mature. And in a world obsessed with being serious, your joy is rebellion. It's radiant, it's rare, and it's sacred. Life lesson. Maturity is not the absence of joy. It's the presence of wisdom with joy still intact. Sagittarius reminds us, you don't have to grow bitter just because you've grown older. Has anyone ever told you to grow up but your soul just knew better? Drop a comment if you're still laughing, still dancing, still dreaming. And yet, with all your fire and freedom, when it comes to love, Sagittarius, you're anything but easy. In fact, winning your heart is one of the hardest things a person could ever do. Which brings us straight to reason number 8. Reason number 8. They envy that no one can truly win you unless you choose them with your entire soul. You can't be caught like a trophy. You can't be owned like a possession. And that alone makes people obsessed. Sagittarius doesn't fall for games. They fall for truth, for growth, for freedom that aligns. You don't commit because you're lonely. You commit because you're inspired. And while they chase validation and attention, you wait, you observe, you choose. And if someone is lucky enough to be chosen, they get all of you. Because once you fall in love, you don't hold back. Your loyalty is intense. Your passion is real. Your love is alive like fire under open sky. But until that person proves they can respect your freedom, your space, your purpose, you remain untouchable. And that's what they envy, because most people give their hearts away hoping to be completed. You, Sagittarius, you only give yours when you know the other person can expand it. Life lesson. Real love doesn't trap. It liberates. And only those who are whole on their own can choose from wholeness, not fear. Sagittarius doesn't settle. They soar and invite love to fly with them. Have you ever rejected someone who thought they had you just because they didn't understand your freedom? Tell me how it felt to choose yourself instead. But what truly makes you unforgettable, Sagittarius, is not just the love you give. It's the way you can make mistakes, own them, and still get away with it like it's a divine art. Let's talk about that in reason number 9. Reason number 9. They envy that you can mess up and still be forgiven because of your truthful charm. Let's face it, you've said things you shouldn't have. You've ghosted people. You've disappeared. You've made bold choices that hurt someone somewhere. And yet, somehow, they always take you back. Why? Because your apology feels real. Because your heart is open when you speak. Because your charm isn't manipulation, it's sincerity with soul. You're the type of person who messes up and immediately owns it. No excuses, no blame games. You walk in with those wild eyes, that restless smile, and say, "Yeah, I messed up, but I meant no harm. Can we try again?" And they say yes, again and again, because the world rarely sees that level of honesty. And you, Sagittarius, offer it freely even after a storm. That's what they envy. You make mistakes, and yet you're still trusted, still admired, still loved. Because you're not trying to be perfect, you're trying to be real. And in a world full of curated masks, your authenticity is magnetic. Life lesson. Imperfection isn't weakness. It's a reflection of your willingness to grow in full view of others. Sagittarius proves that being real, even messy, is still the most beautiful thing you can be. Have you ever forgiven a Sagittarius, or been forgiven by one because the honesty just hit different? Tell me what made it feel sincere. And yet, as forgiving as you are, you have zero tolerance for toxicity. When the energy's off, you walk and you don't look back. And that leads us into reason number 10. Reason number 10. They envy that you cut off toxic people without looking back, like a warrior of energy. You don't give second chances to poison. You don't invite darkness in just because it says sorry. And you don't keep people around just because of history. Sagittarius protects their energy like it's sacred because it is. You can sense toxicity before it says a word, a vibe, a pattern, a frequency. And once you feel it, you're out. No announcement. No drawn-out conversation. No back and forth to convince someone why they're hurting you. You just vanish. And the absence, it teaches louder than your words ever could. That's what they envy. You don't stay to prove your worth. You don't beg for closure. You understand something they don't. Peace is more valuable than loyalty to dysfunction. Most people stay in what's familiar even when it's killing them. You, Sagittarius, you walk away with your crown still on. And the craziest part, you do it with love. You leave with no hate. You just refuse to let someone else's chaos steal your fire. Life lesson. Self-respect sometimes looks like disappearing. Not out of spite, but out of wisdom. And that's a lesson Sagittarius was born to teach. Have you ever walked away from someone toxic and felt stronger the moment you did? Comment. I protect my flame if you've done it. But here's what they never expect. They mistake your peace for weakness. Until they cross a line, you never forgive. Because beneath your calm is a fire they were never ready for. Let's talk about it in reason number 11. Reason number 11. They envy that when you finally get angry, it's righteous, it's real, and it's unstoppable. Most people explode for small things. Sagittarius. You wait. You observe. You give space. You hold patience like a monk. But when you've had enough, when the disrespect reaches the line, you erupt, not from ego, but from truth. And that eruption, it's not about chaos. It's about correction. It's about drawing the line between what is sacred and what will never be tolerated again. You don't throw tantrums. You deliver truth with thunder, and suddenly the room listens. The silence is heavy, because the Sagittarius who rarely speaks in anger just spoke, and it was final. That's what they envy. You don't waste energy on petty fights, but when your flame rises, it transforms the space around you. People feel it. People remember it. People learn from it. Because your anger isn't random, it's earned. And when it shows up, it means something. Life lesson. Anger, when aligned with truth, becomes a sacred force of transformation. Sagittarius teaches us not all storms are destructive, some are necessary. Have you ever held it all in until you couldn't anymore and your truth had to be heard? Tell us what happened and how it changed the space around you. But there's another side to that fire, one that's misunderstood. Because you, Sagittarius, may speak boldly, but you also speak freely, sometimes too freely. And that takes us into reason number 12. Reason number 12, they envy your openness, even when it makes you say too much. You're the storyteller, the sharer, the one who lights up a room with a sentence and shifts the mood with one line. You don't filter your thoughts. You speak from fire, from gut, from soul. And while that can be dangerous, it's also what makes you unforgettable. People envy how you can walk into a room and instantly connect with everyone. You know how to make strangers feel like friends. You know how to break silence with laughter. You know how to speak what others are afraid to say. But sometimes, you say too much. You reveal secrets that weren't meant for the crowd. Not out of malice, but from being too open, too raw, too you. And they envy that too. Because while they're still figuring out how to express a basic truth, you've already said 3 things that cracked open the energy of the entire space. You speak before thinking. But somehow, it still lands. Because your heart is clean, even if your timing isn't. That's your magic, that's your chaos, that's your gift. There's power in openness, but wisdom in knowing when to hold fire. Sagittarius teaches us to speak truth boldly, but also to honor the sacred weight of our words. Have you ever accidentally said something too real, too fast, and instantly knew the room wasn't ready? Share your most oops, I said it moment. Smooth transition to reason number 13. And still, for all your openness, fire, and presence, you remain a mystery. Hard to win. Impossible to own. And that leads us to reason number 13. Reason number 13, they envy that you're hard to win because you know the value of your flame. You're not the type to fall just because someone pays attention. Compliments don't sway you. Promises don't impress you. And love bombs. You've seen enough to recognize manipulation in a gift-wrapped package. Sagittarius doesn't rush into love. You watch, you test, you wait, because for you, commitment is not a costume. It's a ceremony. It's a sacred invitation to the deepest part of your fire, and not everyone deserves entry. That's what they envy. Most people chase after validation. You chase after alignment, and that means this. If someone wants your heart, they must match your energy, not your loneliness. They must respect your space, honor your silence, and never confuse your freedom with distance. When you finally say yes, it means something. It's not driven by fear, it's a conscious decision, a soul agreement. And that's rare in today's world, which is why people crave your love, but not all can handle it. Life lesson. Sagittarius reminds us, being selective with your energy isn't arrogance, it's awareness. Not everyone deserves to stand beside your fire. Have you ever felt someone tried to win you with effort, but not integrity? Tell me what finally made you walk away, or what made you say yes. And sometimes, just sometimes, when you do say yes, it's to someone completely unexpected. Someone who seems your opposite. Which brings us to reason number 14. Reason number 14. They envy that you can love deeply, even when it's with someone who challenges you. Sagittarius and Scorpio. Fire and water. Freedom and depth. Wildness and mystery. On paper, it shouldn't work. In astrology, this combination is chaotic, but somehow it creates something explosive, intense, unforgettable. People envy this because you, Sagittarius, have the ability to fall in love with contradictions. You don't need perfect compatibility. You crave growth. You crave transformation, even if it means getting scorched in the process. And when you find someone who challenges your thinking, who mirrors your shadows, who won't let you run from yourself, you don't flee, you stay, you burn, you become. That's what terrifies and fascinates others. Most people want comfortable love. You want real love. Love that evolves. Love that purifies. Love that sets the world on fire even if it burns the old you down. Life lesson. Sagittarius teaches us that true connection doesn't always look peaceful at first. Sometimes it looks like tension, transformation, and rising from ashes. Have you ever loved someone who seemed like your opposite, but ended up helping you grow in ways no one else could? Tell me your beautiful chaos story. And yet for all that depth, you still carry something else, something almost psychic. Because when you meet someone, you already know what they want. And that brings us to reason number 15. Reason number 15. They envy that you can read people's desires without them saying a word. You walk into a room and feel the temperature shift. Not the air, the energy. Sagittarius doesn't just talk to people. You tune in. You listen with your body, with your intuition, with your spirit. It's not that you're trying to impress anyone, it's just that you sense them. Their fears, their fantasies, their unspoken needs, especially in romance. You know exactly what your partner craves, sometimes even before they do. You pick up on micro-expressions. You feel the hesitation. You read the hesitation behind the eyes and act accordingly. And that's magnetic. People envy this gift. Because while they study books on human behavior, you just feel it. Raw, unfiltered, natural. And this doesn't just apply to love. It applies to negotiations, friendships, healing moments. You're the person who can say the right thing at the right time without trying because your soul already knew what they needed to hear. Life lesson. Intuition is a language not everyone speaks. But Sagittarius, you've been fluent since birth. Have you ever surprised someone by knowing exactly what they needed without them telling you? Tell us how your intuition played out in real life. But here's the twist. While you're so good at reading others, you don't let them read you. And when they betray your trust, you don't just move on. You remember, and that leads us to reason number 16. Reason number 16. They envy that you don't just heal. You remember and you grow stronger because of it. You've been betrayed, used, misunderstood, lied to, and still, here you are. Not broken, not bitter, but aware. See, most people either repress their pain or they let it consume them. But you, Sagittarius, you remember, you process, you alchemize. You don't pretend it didn't happen. You don't wear fake forgiveness like a costume. You carry the scar, not as a wound, but as a weapon of wisdom. They envy that, because you can sit across from the one who hurt you and not flinch. You can forgive without forgetting. You can smile, but never again hand them the map to your soul. Your memory is long, not because you hold grudges, but because you hold lessons. You've learned how to spot the red flags faster. You've trained yourself to trust energy more than words. And now, you don't just survive betrayal, you evolve through it. And that's terrifying to those who expected you to crumble. Life lesson. Forgiveness is not erasure. It's choosing peace over pain while never forgetting what the fire taught you. Have you ever forgiven someone but kept your distance not from spite but from clarity? Tell me how it empowered you. And maybe that's why Sagittarius doesn't fear solitude. Because your freedom isn't lonely, it's liberating. And that brings us straight into reason number 17. Reason number 17. They envy that your freedom is your religion and you defend it without fear. You weren't born to be caged. You weren't made for tight boxes, toxic routines, or outdated rules. You were engineered for the wide open, for ideas that stretch across galaxies, for dreams that make people uncomfortable, for movements that shatter limitations. Sagittarius doesn't just enjoy freedom. You worship it. Not the kind of freedom that disrespects others, but the kind that says, I will not betray myself to keep you comfortable. And that's what they envy. Because they want to live like you. But they're still tied to approval, to fear, to security disguised as chains. You inspire people and you trigger them, because you make bold decisions without over-explaining. You follow callings others ignore. You choose your own truth even when it means walking alone. You know that freedom comes with consequences, but you'd rather face storms in authenticity than live a quiet, obedient lie. Life lesson. Freedom isn't comfort. It's responsibility. And Sagittarius reminds us, your soul came here to be free, not to be liked. Have you ever chosen freedom over approval? Comment. I choose my truth if you've ever walked away from what felt like a cage. And yet for all your freedom you carry something else. Something they can't fake or copy or buy. It's the way you walk, the way you speak, the way you light up a room without trying. Let's talk about it in reason number 18. Reason number 18. They envy that your presence is magnetic. Even when you say nothing at all. You don't enter a room, you shift it. Your energy arrives before your words. Your laugh changes the vibration. Your silence creates mystery. Your confidence is unshakable not because you're arrogant, but because you know who you are. That's the kind of thing you can't fake. They envy how people gravitate toward you. How your aura lingers long after you've left. How strangers open up to you in the middle of nowhere. How you can make someone feel seen just with a look. And the most beautiful part, you're not even trying. Sagittarius doesn't perform. You radiate. And that natural charisma, it isn't about looks. It's about energy. You have a vibe that says, I've been through hell and I came back glowing. They envy that, because they're still trying to control perception while you're out here being. Life lesson. True charisma is soul deep. It's not in the outfit, the voice, or the smile. It's in the alignment. And Sagittarius is the embodiment of aligned fire. Have you ever been told that people feel something around you even before you speak? Drop a comment. What do you think your energy says before your words ever do? But don't mistake that magnetism for predictability. Because if there's one thing Sagittarius is addicted to, it's change. And that's exactly where reason number 19 takes us. Reason number 19. They envy that you refuse to repeat the same relationship twice, even if it's familiar. You don't recycle love stories. You don't stay just because it's comfortable. And you don't confuse nostalgia with destiny. Sagittarius doesn't go backward. Once a lesson is learned, you don't re-enter the same emotional house that once burned you. You move on, sometimes too fast for others to understand. But it's not about speed, it's about growth. They envy that. Because they keep going back to what hurts, to what's predictable, even when it's painful. But you crave expansion. You crave connection that feels new, alive, evolving. You know that love should challenge you, not chain you. You'd rather be alone than settle. You'd rather start fresh than fake a spark. And if that means leaving someone who doesn't grow with you, you'll do it with love but without hesitation. Life lesson. The past only has power if you keep resurrecting it. Sagittarius teaches us to truly love ourselves, we must stop trying to relive what already expired. Have you ever ended something even when your heart still cared, simply because your soul knew it had outgrown the story? Tell us how that shift changed your life. But don't get it twisted. While you may walk away from relationships that no longer serve you, you don't run from new experiences, you run toward them, which brings us to reason number 20. Reason number 20. They envy your spontaneity because you live the life they only dream about. Most people plan every detail. They wait for the right moment. They overthink. They stall. You leap. Sagittarius is ruled by adventure, not just in travel, but in life. You take chances, most won't. You say yes before the fear has time to talk you out of it. That's what they envy. Because while they're still making pros and cons lists, you've already packed your bags and changed your whole world. You understand something fundamental. Life doesn't wait, and neither should you. You don't fear regret, you fear stagnation. You don't crave control, you crave experience. And you don't run from risk, you dance with it. Whether it's moving to a new city, starting a new business, or falling in love with someone across the globe, you go where the fire pulls you. And that kind of freedom, it terrifies those still waiting for permission to live. Life lesson. You were not born to be careful, you were born to be fully alive. Sagittarius reminds us, the greatest risk is not leaping. It's never knowing what could have happened if you did. What's the wildest, spontaneous choice you've ever made, and did it change your life? I want to hear your stories below. And now we arrive at the final reason. The one they rarely say out loud. The one they whisper about behind closed doors. The one that reveals why Sagittarius is not just admired, but feared. Let's go there. Reason number 21. Reason number 21. They envy that you never back down from a dream, even when the world stands against you. This is the part they'll never admit, because deep down, they wish they had your fire, your perseverance, your refusal to quit, your soul deep knowing that the dream is worth it, even if it breaks you first. You've failed, you've lost, you've been laughed at, dismissed, ignored, even mocked for being too ambitious, too idealistic, too much. But you never stopped, not really, because a Sagittarius never dies with their dream still buried. They chase it, bleed for it, rise from the ashes for it, and eventually they become it. That's what they envy, because they gave up. They settled. They told themselves stories to make their quitting sound noble. But you kept going. And that kind of resilience, that stubborn, divine, fire-born belief in yourself is the rarest thing of all. Life lesson. There's nothing more dangerous than a Sagittarius with a vision. Because once you've seen it in your soul, nothing in the world can stop you from building it. What dream are you still fighting for, even if no one else sees it yet? Comment. I will not quit if your fire is still burning. Conclusion. Why they envy you and why you must keep going. So now you know, it was never about your looks, your style, your charm. Not really. It's your fire, your honesty, your refusal to bow to anything less than truth, your obsession with freedom, your ability to fall and rise again and again, brighter each time. That's why they envy you, because most people were taught to dim, and you were born to burn. So here's my final message to you, Sagittarius. Don't apologize for your power. Don't water down your wisdom. Don't trade your fire for comfort. You were never meant to fit in. You were meant to lead, to light the path for others still trapped in shadow. Keep burning, keep dreaming, keep being the wildfire this world so desperately needs. Because when a Sagittarius fully accepts who they are, the world changes. If this message lit something up inside you, drop a flame emoji in the comments and tell me, what do you now understand about yourself that you used to hide? Before you go, if even one truth in this video awakened something in you, your voice, your vision, your fire, then don't let it fade. Keep the flame alive. Subscribe to the Sagittarius Flame. This is not just a channel, it's a sanctuary for wild souls, truth seekers, and cosmic rebels. Every week we decode the mysteries hidden inside you, the gifts, the battles, the divine contracts of the Sagittarius spirit. So hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and join the fire tribe that was never meant to follow, but to lead. Your journey is just beginning.